that story. That's a good way to start out.
Okay, I'll do the intro first here. All
Okay.
right. Hello and welcome everyone to Licensing Playbook Live. My name is Andrew Kraus. I'm one of the co-founders here at inventRight. Our other co-founder is Stephen Keys. Stephen, wave your hand. He's in the white shirt there. There we go. And then we have Dana and Chad, and they are both on our Gateway outreach team. They reach out to companies all day long to make contact and license inventions. Dana, raise your hand there. Wave. Hey, Dana. And then Chad. There you go. Do your Vanna White. Come on, give it your Vanna White. Come on. Yeah, there you go. Oh, nice. Nice. All right. Good deal.
Whoa.
So every licensing playbook live, we do it a little different. We have different topics. The group would, before we let you guys all in, was just talking about how last week's topic was really popular. What was the topic last week, Stephen?
Well, it
What
was about what not to do.
not to
You know,
do.
don't make those mistakes that's going to turn off companies. And if you really want to watch that video, please go to our YouTube channel, inventRight TV. Watch it.
Cool.
We had close to 100 people just on Zoom, and of course, we had streamed that other places as well. It was a good session, you guys.
Yeah, it was great. So I make sure to check that out. Today we're going to do Q&A, and we had a form that people filled out. We got some questions, not a lot. I'm sure you guys will have a lot of questions once we get going here. But we got about 7 questions that people sent in, so we're going to ask these first. We're going to make this a priority. It sounds like Stephen has something he wants to do first, though. Go ahead,
I
Stephen.
do, I do. I'm biting at the
Mhm.
bit. Hey,
All right.
um, welcome everybody. I see a lot of familiar faces. I actually see some new faces too. So welcome to our Wednesday meeting. I want to talk about problems a little bit because last week went so well, what not to do and how to deal with problems. And we have someone here that had a really big problem,
Okay.
big problem, well, probably one of the biggest problems you're ever going to have, and probably one that's going to keep you up at night. It's one of those problems that if you're so lucky to have this problem, congratulations. Because when you get multiple companies wanting your idea, what the heck do you do? Usually maybe one, maybe two, but when you have like 3 or 4 wanting the same idea, that can be a problem. So, Eric, I want you to talk a little bit about what happened to you with Mojo Nation.
Well, I presented 4 concepts, and one of them has got 7 companies interested in it, and the other 3 have 3 other companies interested.
What a problem, Eric.
And
Oh,
then
you
this
poor
morning,
thing.
and then this morning, I checked my email, and I don't know if I can say their name, but I'm not under contract with them. But an email from Mattel,
Oh
basically.
God, you threw that name out? Jeez.
And I got an email from Mattel basically saying that they were sorry they weren't able to accommodate my schedule for Mojo Pitch. How about next week at this date and time?
Oh, good.
So
Nice.
it's a different world of how you interact with your potential licensees. It's
Okay.
awesome.
Okay. Um, First of all, Eric is a member of inventRight. He's been around for 5 years. I don't know why he's still around. I told him, hey, you don't need to be here anymore. You know how to do this, but he's still hanging around. Um, he wasn't in the toy industry, but now he's in the toy industry and he's seen quite a bit of success. So, Mojo Nation, what is it?
It's basically where you buy a ticket to pitch to all of the biggest toy companies in the world. It takes place in England. They have a live event, and then 2 weeks later they have a virtual event. So I did the virtual, and there's a vetting process. They want to make sure that you're up to par with, meeting with these companies and whatnot. And you buy a ticket. You pick from a list of this year was 42 toy and game companies. You pick who you want to meet. They put it in a calendar for you over 3 days, and you pitch all day Tuesday, all day Wednesday, all day Thursday virtually. And hopefully you have some good luck.
You know what's
Yes.
really interesting about this? And the reason why this works so well is that Mojo vets the products, you guys. And that's why we talk a lot about Gateway vetting products. So when we send it to a company, they're prepared to see something good or not good, but a good fit for them. Because sometimes it's not a good fit and you waste their time. They get very frustrated. So They vetted it. The guy gave you a plum. The owner of the company gave you a thumbs up. He loved it. Billy loved it.
Yeah.
Billy loved it. Said you're ready for prime time, right? You're ready to
Yeah.
go.
He said, "You're more than prepared. You're more than ready to pitch. I will email you a link for the ticket."
Okay. And
So
the
if
ticket was what, roughly $300.
384 and change. It was
Okay.
179 British pounds and then
Okay.
converted to, I think it's
So
under
you
under
got the
300 bucks.
you got the pitch for 30 minutes. You got a lot of interest, but tell everybody about the portal situation so they understand there's two different portals here.
Yeah, I was pretty surprised at that, how many companies had a second portal. And if they like what you show them, they invite you to the second portal. You get their direct email address, and then what a lot of them said, if you have a new concept, upload it to this second portal and send me an email and I'll go and check it right away. Like that's how quick they want
So,
to
so
they
wait a
want
minute. Are you telling me that the portals that are out there for all of us, what are those are all about then?
I think it's to discourage you. It's kind of to turn you away. Is kind of the vibe that I got. One of them referred to it as I think it was a junior portal for inventors that don't know what they're doing.
You guys, I really wanted you to hear that because we haven't really talked about portals on this platform, and there's a lot of companies that do have portals, and some companies that have a portal, they actually do a good job, but there's very few of them that do. So if you got to find a way to get around the portals, and this webinar we're doing is all about getting to companies. So think twice when you see a portal, is it the right one, or they just want to babysit you over there and it doesn't really make a difference? Because we think that's kind of what they're doing.
Yeah.
And they actually told Eric the same thing. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So Eric,
Hmm.
what are you going to do if multiple offers come in?
I'll give you a call. We're gonna have to chat. Some one-on-one coaching if that happens.
All right.
But
Well, that's good news. Congratulations. And thank you
thank
for
you so
sharing that.
much.
I think it's amazing. Good
Fingers.
job.
Thank you. Thank
Congrats, Eric. Congrats.
you.
Well, wait, I have to say one thing. When I first saw it, I thought right away he had a winner. I called it, I saw it, I told you he had a winner. It
Yeah, you
just
did.
had everything. It had a wow factor, and it was easy. You could tell it was easy to make, easy to
Mhm.
do. And the prototype, if it was a prototype, looked professional. Everything about it gave me like, I want that.
Good.
Yeah. So good.
That's what the kid at Jazzware said. He's like, once in a while, you see a first-time inventor come out with a toy that's one of those. I want that. He
Yeah.
said, you have one of those ideas.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, no, I thought so too. Congratulations. Okay, so let's
Thank
get
you.
to
And
some of
have
the
you had this
questions.
idea for a long time, Eric? Didn't you say you came up with this version of this when you were a kid?
Yeah, I have the actual. I use it on my pitches. I have the actual game that inspired it,
That's
but
so cool.
the game was banned. I don't know if I should show it because it might give away what the game is.
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
Okay.
But that's cool. That's cool, man. Hey, so just to let you guys know, that was in the toy industry, and Stephanie has related questions. Stephanie wrote, "Are there any other pitch events like that for other industries?" No, there aren't. It's very unique. It's very unique to the toy industry and that particular event. The only other thing I could think of, which is not at all the same thing, this event, they want to license your product. They want to license your new toy. They have these cheesy things where they kind of imitate Shark Tank and they have experts and stuff. That's not licensing. And usually it's just a thing to attract people and it's kind of a joke 9.9 times out of 10 in my biased opinion. Okay, so we're gonna jump to the questions that we got ahead of time because you guys all got an email saying, hey, if you guys want to send your questions ahead of time, you can send them in. So we're gonna hit some of these, and then we'll also mix it in with some of the questions in the chat here. With the form, I guess that we did, it didn't ask for the name of the person, so I just have these questions. The first one isn't really a question, but I can make it into a question because I think I know what they're saying. Sometimes people write in incomplete sentences, and working with inventors for 25 years at inventRight, another 14 years at my inventors group, I can finish people's sentences. So it just says, I have multiple patents to file for multiple versions of a product. Okay. So we're big advocates of filing provisional patent applications. For 65 bucks, you yourself can write a provisional patent in common English. So some people say, well, I got this version and that version, that version. Do I need to file 5 provisional patents or 1 provisional patent? So if you have a dog toy and then you have a kitchen gadget, I've had actually people ask me this, can I just put them into one provisional patent? And the answer is no, don't do that. But if you got a dog toy, let's say a particular dog chew toy, could be something I don't know. Let's say this is one of our product students license this, and you got some variations where you could do these things differently, or it could be a different material, or this or that, or whatever it is. You're going to put it all in one patent application. It's a very broad answer. So no, you don't need to file 5 different
But
provisional patent applications if the material is related.
no, but what you can do though, let's say you've got an idea and you're dealing with a company that's fairly large and you want to have more than one provisional patent. So you want to say, I have patents pending with
Yeah,
an
that's
S.
cool.
Then I might say, hey, I might file one on maybe the way it can be used. I might file one that on how to manufacture it. I might break it up a little bit. It's going to cost me a little bit more money, but I can show them that I've got multiple patents filed. I've done that before. You can do both approaches. It's just a different strategy.
Yeah, and I'll expand on that a little bit too. If you some people a lot of inventors when they file a patent they get it issued, they're very proud. I got a patent, it's patented, and here's the number. And this is getting paranoid and not necessary in most industries, but if it's a really tough industry, might be good to also file a provisional patent for 65 bucks because then you can do what Steven said. You can say patents pending, plural, right? Because when you have an issued patent, they can look at it, they can see it, they can analyze it. They can go, oh, we can get around him here. I'm not saying companies are doing that. We have not had a company do that to one of our inventors in 25 years where they knocked them off and they took it
Well,
that they presented. But so if what I'm saying is, let's say it's a really tough industry packaging industry, Stevenson, and they can look at your patent, but then you have the provisional, and for $65, they can't see it. So it keeps them guessing. So now they got to keep talking to you. So am I saying you should do that on every product? Hell no. But you can if you want. It's
yeah,
not going to hurt. It's only 65 more bucks.
gives
Why
you.
not?
Also, we have to make a disclaimer. We're not giving legal advice. We're not patent attorneys. Okay, so let's make sure we're clear on that one.
No, normally I do that disclaimer. Steven says a bunch of stuff, and then I'm like, here's the disclaimer, and that's the first time I've ever seen Steven do that. Okay, second question. If you discovered a new technology that can use a lot of applications, is it hard to license it to companies? Okay, so you need to determine like what are all the different applications for it and figure out which one is the lowest hanging fruit, in my opinion,
Okay.
right? And do that one first. So sometimes I've seen, not often, but sometimes definitely, I've looked at it and like, oh, it could be applied over here in kitchen. It could be applied in garden. It could be applied here and there. And they're different products. If you have 3 different versions, the same technology, but using it in different areas in different way, you might actually have 3 products to license.
Yeah. Hey, Dana, what do you do when you see a project come in from Gateway that could cross a couple different categories? How do you know which one to pick? And you said take the easiest one, which I think is pretty smart.
Yeah, we do take the easiest one, the easiest category that we think we can find the most companies in. So you're saying one product, but it can be in a couple different categories.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the same
So
technology.
yeah,
Let's say it's
yeah,
a
that's
let's say it's
happened.
a
Yeah,
grip on a
yeah,
handle or something
right.
that it's gonna make it so the thing doesn't fall out, but it could be used in the I'm just making
Yeah,
some up
yeah,
in the kitchen or the garden or
yeah.
for
I get it.
automotive tool or something. Let's say give
Yeah,
an example.
I think we would focus on the category with the most companies
Okay.
to reach out to. That doesn't mean that we won't cross over into a little bit of a different category. And it happens. Like we have a client right now that I'm not going to name the product, but it can go in the home space and it can go in the promotional space. So we're actually kind of reaching out to both industries because why not? Why wouldn't we?
Okay.
Why wouldn't you reach
I,
out to
I would
both
I would
industries?
add to that too, Dane. I mean, so let's say it's this handle that is great because it just lets you get a better grip on things or whatever, right? And it could be in tools or garden or kitchen. And you're
Mhm.
like, maybe a little bit of a stretch to the kitchen, but it'd be useful for people with arthritis or something. But if you determine that, oh gosh, mechanics really have a problem with that, and the benefit's going to be bigger, maybe start with that. And
Yeah.
and also sometimes maybe don't pursue some of the markets because we get Dana and Chad, we get inventors all the time that think it's great for everything, everybody, everywhere. And you look at it, and I look at it, and I'm like,
Okay.
no, it's not. It's
So,
good over
yeah.
here. You know what I mean? You got to be honest with
So,
yourself.
yeah, I got a question for Chad. So you see a project, it could fit in a lot of categories. What do you do with the sell sheet? Do you just pick
Mm,
one, or do you try to appeal to everybody?
question.
I would say, personally, I would say it depends on how much those categories vary, but I think that you should definitely do different marketing materials if you're approaching a
Mm,
different industry altogether. The point of those marketing materials is to get them to see the point right off the bat, and you don't want them to look at that and have to imagine it being something else. You
Come
want
on, Chad. I want to put everything in that sell
no.
sheet.
that those can get real clouded up real fast, and less is more. Less is more with your marketing materials for
All
sure.
right.
Yeah, I
Okay.
couldn't agree more that we had a client that was a product that could go for children, but it could go for adults too. Those are two different industries. If we're pitching it to companies who only do kids stuff, the product's exactly the same, but and its function was exactly the same, but it could be geared, let's just say it could be geared towards kids with markers, and then it could be geared towards adults with dry erase markers.
Okay.
Two different sales sheets, two different industries.
All right.
Yeah, good point. Good point.
What's next
The
question,
next
Andrew?
one, the next one is how do I patent my app and what options do I have to pursue a licensing agreement through your agency? So we don't do apps. The software geeks are impossible to get a hold of. They really are. Here's the big problem, though. That's not even the biggest problem. The biggest problem is the average, and this is changing actually right now as of the last year, or even more the last 4 or 6 months. Now you can use AI to, it will write an app for you. You can know nothing about programming, it'll write an app for you. Whether or not it's fully ready to go in the Apple Play or Apple App Store, I don't know, but I've talked to people that have done it, that wrote an app in a day with AI. Okay. So that's amazing. That's very different. Now, in the past, I always used to say the average inventor, because everybody and their grandmother has a smartphone or an iPad or an Android pad or whatever. And they're like, I got an idea for an app. And so this is always back in history. Things are changing now. And I'm like, okay, but they have no idea like what software you'd use, how it'd be programmed. Is this something that's going to take a year to program or something could be programmed in a month? And so that's a big issue. So the software geeks, they look at you when you try to submit them a product, they're like, well, that's all great, guy, but it's going to take, 6 months to program that and
But
tons of money. We're not interested in your idea. And so,
but,
can I finish?
but Andrew,
So,
I
yeah,
think the bigger question here is, can I license an app?
you can
Is there any?
absolutely license an app. You can.
Okay.
You can, but we don't take it on because just to be honest, it's too hard to get to the software guys. It's like they're hiding and they don't value. Here's the thing. This is what all inventors think about licensing. Oh, why would they pay me for my idea? Why wouldn't they just take it? Like in almost every industry, it's pretty easy. But in the software, they're a little jaded. They're like, well, we're gonna do all the program to program this thing. Now, with all that said,
Mhm.
that's
Ty-
changing because
Typically, yeah, I think from my experience, I think Andrew's 100% right. To have a concept with an app without building it, that's not gonna get you very far. If you have an app that's already built out, that will get you a little bit further. But where you're really going to find the traction is that if you have an app and it's working and you have eyeballs, it's
Mhm.
actually working, where you can show the traffic. That is a very different story to get to a company now and go, look what I did. What can you do with that? So you just have to take it further than most ideas. Yeah.
Yeah, and that is a lot further because if you have to get customers and show that you've sold it and then
Yeah.
sell it.
Yeah.
So, this is the first time we get this question all the time, Steve. It's the first time we got a question where I've been talking to people that have written apps with AI and like in a day. Now, it needs tweaking. That was never the case in the last 25 years. So that is different. Do I really advise you guys to get into apps and do that? Not really. But I'm not an expert at apps, and we've always avoided it because we don't want people to, we want people to be able to get to the company. So just because you can write it, and even if you can prove it works, is some software
Yeah.
geek going to buy it?
Yeah, the issue, I think, what we're talking about, there's certain industries we typically are very hard to pitch to, and because it moves so quickly, they've got a bad reputation of kind of taking things a little bit. So we stay away from it because it's just hard to get to. We stay in industries that are easy to get to companies. It could be the pet industry, it could be the toys, it could be kitchen, it could be medical, it could be sports, it could be packaging, it could be everything under the sun. The tech space, it's the wild, wild west. We kind of stay away from it.
But could you do an app and could you license it? Absolutely. Can we help you with that? Could you use the right approach if we were
No,
coaching you? Yes, but
no,
would we ever take it on under Gateway? No,
no.
we would not. We would not.
No.
And that could change, let me tell you
Yeah.
how that could change.
That could change.
It
Yeah,
could
good.
change because sometimes we go to these conferences and you get to meet the right people. And typically the door is hard to open, but that doesn't mean it's always going to be hard to open. But today we want to be more successful. And we just know that we don't want to waste anybody's time.
Well, here's the other problem too. If you could write the app in a day with AI, so could they. So you give them the idea. It's very hard to protect the idea, which is the other part of the question. And then they write the app completed like super pro in a couple days. So that is a problem. And I know that's catering to paranoia, but that's the software guys. I grew up in Silicon Valley. I know how Silicon Valley works. Steven did too when he was younger. And I don't trust them. I don't trust them. Well, you lived in Modesto. You raised your family in Modesto, but you grew up in Silicon Valley where I
Yeah,
did,
I,
right?
I just
Yeah.
think it's a crazy industry. They have a terrible track record. They don't
Yeah.
value patents.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's a whole thing, and I don't want to go down that road.
Well,
Yeah.
But,
don't you?
but, but
But
if you have a great idea for an app, I think you can protect it. And I think if you're smart enough, you could probably build a demo. And if you want to invest any more, start a small company and get eyeballs. And if you can do all that, hey, trust me, if you can do all that, you can probably get to the right people too.
it's one of those rare things that I say it might be better to do it yourself, but that's not as easy as you think. We're not experts at launching apps. Don't ask us. That's not what we're experts at.
All
We're
right.
experts at licensing. Next question is, and I'm sorry if any of these are your guys' questions, feel free to raise your hand or type into the chat if you want to talk, because when we did the form, apparently there wasn't any names in there. Um, What should the subject line say in the
I love
first
this
email
question.
making contact? How
Th-
do you get their attention? Please give examples. In the
This is
body of the
the,
first email, should you mention the product name or tagline?
you guys, we've talked about this briefly a little bit, but this is such a great question. I'd like to do a whole hour on this just alone because I'll tell
Yeah,
you, this is
good.
going to help you get in the door. So, Dana, what do you use?
I just sent out an email today, and in the subject matter, it said the name of the product introduction. That's it. The product has 3 words. I'm not going to say what they are because that'll give the product away, and it's for a client, so we value, privacy. 3 words. So and it clearly says what the product is, and then that's what I want to do. I just want to introduce it. But I'm not sending over the sell sheet or anything in this. I'm just asking them the questions, are they open?
So let me get this. So in the subject line, it would say a better mousetrap. What would it say before that? Let's say it's a better mousetrap. So what would it say?
I don't
Can
know.
you?
I don't know. I don't know because I have to see the sell sheet. I have to see the
Oh, you're stating a benefit,
I'm
not the
well, this
description
is
of
the
it. Yes.
actual name of the product, but it tells it what it does in the subject line.
But
Chad, what do you? Let me find
wait,
another.
wait, before we get to Chad, you guys, let's step back for just a minute. Dana, what do you do all day long?
I reach out to companies all day long, and I follow up with people, and I research their company. That's
So
what I do all day long.
you pitch ideas all day long.
Mhm.
How many companies has Gateway pitched to? How many
How
how many
many?
companies are in the database?
Over 800.
How many?
Over 800.
And that's all you do all day long.
Yeah, that okay. Let's get 800 companies are open to ideas. We've talked to them. They're in our database. Thousands of companies we've reached out to.
Okay. Chad, what do you do?
So I would have to say it depends on what stage you're at. If I'm just initially reaching out to the company, I will say sometimes even put new product submissions question mark, and I'll put the name of the product. If that's an initial outreach, 9 times out of the 10, I've already talked to them on the phone. So I will say new product submission. I would put the product name. If it's a more general email, I will put attention to whoever it was that I spoke to, because you want to make sure that you get it,
How,
through their
how many,
system to the right person.
how many companies you call a week?
At least, I don't know, at least 100, at least. And that's not counting, emails, LinkedIn, all that stuff too.
Is there just one way to do it?
No, and we kind of went over that. We've been coming to that conclusion over these last several videos in each topic that we come to, and I even was talking to Benjamin Harrison about that, about how we all kind of have our different styles, but ultimately you come to the same conclusion, and as long as you do it professionally and practice at it, you'll do fine.
Yeah, I have a couple pulled up that I just sent out this week. There's a pet company. They have a lot of pets. And in the subject matter, new pet products to consider. That was my subject line.
I like
what
that
I'm
one.
telling you. The other one I sent out, this is something that's really important. We do a ton of research, guys. If you're not doing research in your companies and finding out what they do, you just have to do it. So there's a company that I just reached out to today. I actually did a follow-up with them. But in this, they do baby items. Up on top of their website at the top, it says mealtime, bath time, bedtime. Those are their categories. So I want to pitch them 2 products. We have 2 clients. One is for mealtime and one is for bath time. So in the subject matter, it says mealtime, exactly how they have it printed on their website, MEALTIM, one word, mealtime/bath time product introduction.
Oh,
Here's a
Wait,
I need to
Dana,
use
you're
their
saying
words.
you should pay attention to what the company's thinking and think
Yes.
about
Yes.
them?
that's
Yes.
crazy.
No, don't do that.
Yes.
Do things that get their attention based on researching their website and their product
Here's
line.
here's an
No.
example. Here's an example of one in subject line. So this is an interesting one. This is actually a company that Dana got into, but they had categories in their company that I had clients. So Dana made the introduction. So it says new product submissions for blank company referred by Dana Knowles with inventRight. So right off the bat, I'm trying to get past the whole spam filter. I've been referred by someone at my company has already talked to you. And if you can, even the attention so and so, if you can point out that you already know who you're going for, then, or you've already had a communication with them, that's going to do a lot for you to get past that spam.
Nice. Hey guys, related question here. The next question, I think it might have been from the same person. I can't tell. In the initial email, should I mention this product is perfect for impulse sales near checkout? So they feel like it's great, the gum aisle or the gift cards or whatever near checkout. So Chad and Dana, would you mention that in an email if you felt like that was the case? It seems like a detail, doesn't it?
If that is the best one sentence benefit statement you got,
You're in trouble.
you're in trouble.
But what if they
I would say you need to work out that. That's probably a great, deciding factor later on when they're talking pricing and things like that. But I would find a more wow factor one sentence benefit statement.
I don't think they're saying
all by the cash register.
Right. Then it might make sense. If you notice that everything they sell is near the cash register, Chad, you might mention it then it might be a good
Yeah,
selling
I mean,
point.
if it's relevant, and like I said, and if that's your kind of your one shot, I would use whatever your best one shot is.
That's
You
fair
know what I
enough.
mean?
Well, and they're not saying this is the one sentence benefit statement. They're saying,
Okay.
would you include that in the
Oh,
body
yeah.
of the
If it was
email?
relevant to their company, I would definitely put it in there.
But most of the time, I'd say it's not. Yeah.
I might put something like the word impulse. I wouldn't say impulse near that. I might use that word impulse in there because that's what it's for.
Yep.
If it's a product that people are just going to buy impulse and they sell, at that checkout.
Well,
You
and that
know,
goes right back to
that makes
researching your
sense.
company. If you, a lot of times I will vary my pitch based on whatever that
Yeah.
company's terminology is of that category. So if even if it's the exact same thing, but they say it a slightly different way, like they at the top of their website, their categories are labeled a certain way. Use what they use on the website. That's gonna show them that you've done your homework and you're not just throwing stuff
Right.
out
Hey, we got a question from Robert. Let's get to him. He's over there.
Has his hand up.
Okay. Hey, Robert. Good old Robert. He was on the meeting the last time too.
there. I just
Where'd he
met
go?
Robert at Smart Pitch last night.
He's been hanging out everywhere because I saw him, what
There
day
you
was
go.
it?
Me?
Yeah, Rob, you've been hanging out a lot over here. So what questions do you have?
Oh, well, app IP is the same as software, and that's old. There's got to be tons of experts on software IPs and submitting to software companies. That's not new. So, also, can you put explosions and emojis in the title line of your?
Oh, that's an interesting question. I've seen salespeople do that. Dana and Chad, do you ever put emojis in your subject line?
No,
No, I don't. I'm
No.
not a big fan of doing that.
Hey,
I don't
No,
know if
I-
it doesn't
Has
work.
Dana
no.
been telling you to
Not-
do that, Rob?
no.
What's that? I've done that type of stuff before. I forgot what I was doing.
No, I'd never.
I'm
do
all
that.
for trying stuff that sets you apart for sure. And I think when you get a lot of spam and AI, I think that anything, you're trying to set yourself apart from the other ones. But I personally don't use it. I personally feel that it's too unprofessional for me. It's kind of
I wouldn't do it.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
kind of like spam.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it. It's childish. It's too, Facebooky and,
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, if they do it, and you know what, honestly, I don't think it's very professional because I never see anybody do it back to us.
well, and I'll send Steven crazy emojis all the time, but
Wow.
that's different stuff.
That's okay.
Yeah, and getting back to the app thing, guys, Steven's right. Like, if you talk to us 6 months, a year from now, we may change our mind on all this because it's amazing how AI is moving forward. But there are people that specialize in apps and stuff. I'm sure there's a lot of courses and different things you can learn about that. We're more excited about physical products. That's what we do. So this one's a good one. This one says, can we talk about the line between persistence and being annoying when following up with companies? If I'm sending short, polite emails or voicemails trying to find the right person or any person, how do I know when it's too much if you're getting no reply? I want to be professional, not pushy. I'm just trying to find out if they're open to licensing and if I can share that one-page sell sheet with the right person. So, that's a great question. I think it's a great question, Stephen, for Chad and Dana, being they reach out all the time. How pushy is too much pushy? How much is too much? What's the line? I mean, now you guys have a lot of projects you're working on, but you have if you were effective with being obnoxious, you'd probably do it. And have you experimented with it? That's fun.
Obnoxious. It is a great question because I don't know. There might be companies that think I'm annoying all the time, and I have no idea. But that might be the case. I mean, I'm not obnoxious. I'm not obnoxious, but I'm definitely persistent, and I may very well cross that line into annoying sometimes. But also, I get results too. So I don't know. I keep pushing, and I wouldn't say that I get to be annoying, but I definitely don't. I definitely take all of the avenues. If I call that day and you don't answer, you can be sure that I'll be calling the next person in the line too,
So I guess they're asking, should we stalk them? Do we go after them? Are we one of those big pests? Know what I think? I think if you are persistent and polite, you're a professional. And you want to get an answer. So Dana, what do you do?
Okay, well, I am very persistent, and I also will if I send over, and this is the thing too. It sounds a lot like you're like, we talk to people, we call people on the phone and talk to them and try to get the right person. Not does it always doesn't happen that way. But if I find the right person and I think they're the right person and I'm told they're the right person, and I reach out to them once, I'm gonna explain why I'm reaching out. But then in the next email, it's gonna be different. It's gonna be shorter. I've already told them once what I want to do, and I'm also going to a lot of times I'll find the email that I sent, and then I'll go to that email and I'll kind of resend that email so it's in that thread of sending it again so they can go and see the other email if they want to. I think that works. But every time I reach out to them, it's the script is a little bit different because maybe they didn't want to respond to that little bit of a longer script. Maybe they need a shorter script. And then ultimately, we have a kind of a rule over here or just a way, you know what, if they're not responding, move on and find somebody else. Don't waste all your time and energy trying to reach out to somebody and reach out to them different ways. I'll give you a perfect example. I call a company, talk to the gatekeeper. Gatekeeper says, this is the person you need to talk to. She gives me her direct line. She gives me her extension, whatever. I leave a voicemail. Wait a week, hear nothing. Call back again, week later. Leave a voicemail. Tell her why I'm calling again, who I am, my number. Hear nothing. 3 weeks or a week later, I call her back a third time. This is a project we're working on, Stephen. Call her back a third time. Don't hear anything. Find her email, shoot her out an email. Didn't hear back. Hit her up on LinkedIn. Within 3 minutes, she got back in touch with me. She was a LinkedIn person. That's when she gave, and you know, actually I didn't have her email, but I hit her up on LinkedIn and then she gave me her email address. So I'm a believer. I will reach out to somebody if I truly believe that person is the right person. It's not uncommon for me to reach out 4 or 5 or 6 times, and then I just have to move on and find somebody else because they are not being responsive. But we also reach out different ways. We just don't put all our eggs in one basket.
Yeah, Dana, let me ask
And
you.
I don't think it's being pushy if you do that. I think as long as you're kind in your, you know, believe me, there's times I want to say, just give me a freaking answer. Just give me an answer.
Well,
I'll
you
take
do
a
have to
no. Just give it to me.
you do have to try the different ways too, because if you've reached out to email and your only way you've been reaching out is to email, it's very often it happens that we find out that that contact is no longer with the company and they're just not answering the email. So by picking up the phone or reaching out to somebody else, you might find out that your contact is no longer there. That happens all the time.
Yeah, it
We
does.
lose contacts, we pick up new ones.
Yeah, you
Uh,
you know, so like Chad, so let's say you get the name off LinkedIn, you got an email, you send the email, no response. You call, you bother to call, which most inventors don't, and you do the dial by name directory. Let's say they have a dial by name directory, it's Bob Smith, and then it says Bob Smith's no longer with the company. And it's like, oh, maybe that's why he's not replying to my email. So I think you guys are making a great point that you can't just reach out using one method. You got to use multiple methods. And I think probably most inventors just use email or just use LinkedIn or whatever, and that doesn't really work, does
Yeah,
it?
let's talk about emails for just a minute, you guys. Let me tell you what my strategy is. I've realized that I get quite a few emails every day, and I don't answer a lot of them
Mhm.
because I don't know who the people are. And I'm pretty busy, and so I answer the ones that I recognize. Okay, so you send it to me, I don't answer, but let's say you sent it the next day. Well, there it is again. Okay, I'm looking at it going, all right, who is this person? I'm still busy.
gotta
But let's
worry.
say it shows up the third day. Okay, this person is not going away. This person is a professional. This person wants an answer. So I'm going to do the polite thing as any business person would do because I want to be treated the same way. I'll look at it now. That's what I do. So I think it does help to be a little bit more consistent with it. I know in the past we said wait 5 days, but I think today you cannot wait because it's just going to get buried, and you have to stand out. You could do it with a sense of humor. You could play with the subject line, but I'm convinced that if you keep on doing it, they're going to see it eventually, and there's a good chance they'll answer it just to get rid of you.
A good example of that is Stephanie wrote, I'll admit that my question here is if you reach out via LinkedIn and get a page view and they don't connect with you and no message reply, is it bad to call the next day? Ha ha. Like
No,
Oh my God, I
if
get so
yes,
many of
no, it's
those. That
absolutely not
drives
because
me
they might
nuts.
no.
remember it kind of like the fact that you have to ask that question, Stephanie, is that you're working on getting there. You're working at getting used to being like Dana and like Chad.
Well,
But it's
because that
good you're asking that
that
question.
does drive me nuts when you send out LinkedIn connection requests and you see that they've looked at your profile, but it still says like 2 or 3 on there. Like, come on. So yeah, I would
Yeah.
definitely call them, but
Well, how
yeah,
many
that's frustrating.
calls versus emails? I mean, what's the percentage? You do more calling or more emails, or is it the same?
Everybody on the team's different, right, Dana?
Um, I do more phone calls. In fact, I don't send out hardly any emails.
And I do more
I
phone
don't. I
calls,
just don't. It's not my. You know what? I
but
do LinkedIn and phone calls.
but I think Claudia and Brad do a lot of emails. I know Brad does different social media. I mean, I think everybody kind of has their little niche that we're like you said it perfectly the other day, Stephen. You said when you find something that works, you stick with it. And we've all found our own little thing that works for us that we feel comfortable being in that mode in, and we've kind of stuck with that and developed that. And we've developed a lot of different scripts. Like even Dana, she's when we're talking about wanting an answer, she's developed certain scripts that almost pull that persistence into the email of like we really need an answer, and she did it in a really professional way. And now that's for when you're sending out for a client, so it'd be a little different, but there's definitely a lot you can play with for sure.
Hey, I want to answer this next one. John says, how do you attempt to sell a patent? It's a restaurant technology. And you're going to be shocked at my answer. You don't. That's a no-no. You never want to call a company and say, I want to sell you my patent. It's the most wrong thing to say. It's the biggest rookie move you could possibly make. It's taking the focus of your product and its benefits over to intellectual property. It's completely the wrong thing to say. You're trying to do a licensing agreement. You're not trying to sell a patent, right? And so don't do that, John. Now, that's not really the end of your question. How do you attempt to sell a patent? Your real question is, how do I license a product? So you got to, watch our YouTube show, watch inventRight TV, learn what you can about licensing. We have how many videos, Stephen?
A few.
Well,
Well,
and
1,200 or so, I think. I didn't bother to count them. Stephen did, apparently. He's told me 1,200 the other day. He might be wrong. He might be bragging, but I think he's probably right.
Andrew, when you
Um,
say the best way to sell your patent is to license your product and have them pay you so much in royalties that they want to buy you out, that probably be
Yeah.
the best way.
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, well, let's ask Dana and Chad. Do you ever go, hey, I have an inventor who wants to sell you their patent? Do you ever say
No.
that?
No.
Never,
But
never,
I
never,
mean,
never.
correct me if I'm wrong, but you have had students in the past or clients that have licensed their product and the company paid them so much in royalties that eventually they ended up buying them out. Is that not?
Two in 25 years.
Oh, yeah. Okay. But it has
Yeah.
happened. I
Not,
They'd
just
rather
remember
just keep
hearing
paying the
that.
royalties for the most part. Yeah.
not that common.
That's a problem
Yeah.
I'd like to have.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a nice problem to have. Okay. Let's see.
Oh, there's a good question here.
Yeah.
I'm
Why
sure
don't
I
you
wrote it
you do
down.
it, Dana? Yeah.
What about personal phone numbers?
Yeah. Because
So
you can
I tell
get
you,
them, can't you?
you can get them.
Oh yeah.
I use them.
It,
I
if
think
they
Dana
give
does.
me, yeah, I got a good story about this one, short story. There's different platforms you can find stuff, Zoom Info, free version, Apollo IO, whatever, And so I found this woman's phone number. I didn't know what number it was. And I called her and she picked up and she just said hello. And I said, I knew who she was, and I told her who I was. She said, "Where did you get this number?" And I said, I said, "I'm sorry, but you can find anything on the internet." I didn't realize that, whatever. I mean, it's the truth. I said, and I told her, I said, Apollo IO. Well, this number shouldn't be out there. She was angry with me that her telephone number was out there. And that's when I said, I'm sorry, you can find anything on the internet. I'm sorry, I didn't know this was your cell phone number. And it ended up being an okay conversation. But I don't search up. their work, because this is business. I want their work number and I really like their extension so I can get right to them, of course. If they provide, if I email them something and they email me back and their cell phone number is in the signature, that's a different story because they have provided it to me now.
Yeah.
So but for me to search and call them on their cell phone, I've done it twice, and both times it was not, it was okay because I knew how to handle it, saying I'm so sorry. The other time I called somebody, she was on maternity leave. And yeah, so I would stay away from personal numbers unless you get them from
Oh,
that.
Dana, you call them on Saturday, Sunday. I know you.
I feel bad 'cause I call cell phone
No,
numbers all the time.
no, I will
How does
reach out
that,
to them on
how does that
Saturday.
work
Oh,
for
on a
you?
Saturday before.
Okay, how does that work for you, Chad? How does it?
So I honestly I didn't know that, Dana. I kind of because now I kind of feel bad because I call cell phone numbers all the time if I get them or wherever I get them. And if I'm being honest, I've never had anybody that was upset
Yeah.
about it. I've caught a couple people off guard, like they were either working remote or whatever. But
Yeah.
I'd have to say
Yeah, see?
out of the voicemails that I've gotten through to, the majority of them reference their company and like, hey, this is so and so with blank
Yeah.
company. So
Mm,
I didn't feel out of place leaving a voicemail.
right.
A lot of times I get, more answers than you would think from, cell phones. I think a lot
Yeah.
of people assume that it's spam,
Okay,
but
I
okay,
think I'm
here's
not against it. It's just that the two times that you know what, I might have called somebody's cell phone 50 more
not knowing
times and I
it,
don't even
right?
know it was their cell phone because they never said, why are you calling my cell phone?
To be a work phone. That's usually what I
Yeah,
do.
I
yeah,
think
yeah,
I think whatever you're comfortable with,
yeah.
kind of. I think that's what I've learned from Chad and Dana and Claudia and Brad. They all do it differently, but I'll tell you the thing that they do, they're very successful at it. And I think we have to remember that they do it every day,
Mhm.
right? And don't forget that when you do something every single day, you gain a
Oh,
certain confidence.
I got a story for you, Steven. I was in the truck with my boy the other day and I had a company call me back. This will happen every time. You'll be sitting at your computer and the second you leave to go grab something, go run to the gas station, whatever, that's when that company's going to call you back. And do you think I had any idea who he was or what product he was calling for? I didn't have a clue. And so he said his name, didn't ring a bell. He's rattled some other stuff off, didn't catch that. And right at the end, he said the company name. So as he's talking and I'm talking slow, I pulled up Google on the same phone and I Googled the company to figure out what
What's
categories
wrong?
they have. And then I was able to pick it up and run right back into my pitch. But sometimes you just need to
Yeah,
stall a little bit, you know.
yeah, yeah. I started when I call people because I call them from my cell phone. This is what I do so that I know who it is. I put as soon as I call them from my cell phone, I add them to my contacts. I add that company name, and because we work on so many clients, I might not associate the company name with the client's product we're working on. I put the name of the product that I'm working
yeah,
on for
yeah.
that. So when they call and it comes up, I know exactly who's calling and what product I'm talking about because I've had that happen to me.
Well,
Hey,
since
Rob's got his hand up again. Let's get to Rob. Rob, what do you got?
Rob, oh, Rob, just kidding, Rob. Go ahead, unmute yourself. There you go.
Oh, there we go. Well, I brought this up the other day. Right now I'm getting quotes to make my next inventory round, and I thought, why don't I just get quotes from like 50 companies? That's like the third portal to enter a company and get their attention.
So what are you
Isn't
saying? You're saying you want to get a quote to do because Rob's manufacturing his own product. It's public, so we can talk about it. It's a bed sheet with a drawstring. So you put the bed sheet on, you pull the drawstring. So are you saying, Rob, you could approach them as a contract manufacturer because you want to get this thing made, and then maybe some of them might be interested in licensing your product. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. And instead of
I
just,
think it's a valid approach. You could do that. Yeah.
yeah, that's like the back door, dangling money in front of them.
Sure.
I
Sure.
would.
Yeah. You've been working on this thing for a long time.
Hey,
And Rob shared on was it a co-founder call, Stephen, or was it on the
well, you
call
know what?
last time?
You know
I don't
what's
remember.
really interesting about what he just said, and I've tried this before. I'm pitching an idea, and I leave a message for somebody, and I said, "Hi, this is Stephen Key. I have a project I'd like to speak with you about." Now they don't know what that means. I mean, she's
Yeah.
in sales. She's thinking, oh, hey, I got a job here, or I'm going to sell something. And
Yeah.
sure enough, they called right away. So yeah, Rob, whatever it takes, do it.
And we've heard too the other thing that if you call a company and say, I find a product on their website and say, I'd like to talk to you about whatever product. Can you give me a call back?
Yep.
Just to
Yeah.
get somebody to call you back, and then you can talk about the product, you can talk about their website, their products, and then just kind of segue into, hey, do you I have something similar, but whatever. There is another question on here, and I just don't quite understand it. I think it was LinkedIn contact emails are typically the person's personal email. Is that fair game, or should we try to find their work email? I don't know that LinkedIn contact emails are typically the person's personal email. I think when I click on the contact, that usually is a generic email. It's not their work email.
Right.
It could be either.
That's what she's saying, asking if when you click on their contact info, if it seems to be a personal email rather than a business one, is it okay to reach out to that personal
I
one?
say absolutely 100% because they had to physically probably put that on there.
They
And
did.
that's on you. No.
Yeah, that's
Hey,
on.
I just
yeah.
wanted to say something really quickly. We're talking about these different techniques and stuff, and you need to know this stuff. That's important. But I'm going to say two words, and these two words are why Chad and Dana are successful. And the first word is work, and the second work is ethic. So if you have a work ethic and you work really hard, but you're doing all the wrong things and you're beating your head up against a brick wall, you won't have success. But if you have a work ethic and you're doing the right things, that's when you can be successful in anything, And so that's that what I want to add as far as techniques are great, but if they go in one ear and out the other, or it goes into your brain and it stays there, but you don't apply it and you don't have a work ethic, it won't work.
Well, I think the work ethic too, but I think, Andrew, there's a certain confidence that you have if you do this enough. That there's no question someone's going to throw at you that you cannot answer. There's no one's ever going to say anything that's going to bother you. And once you get a little success, you're unstoppable. So I do believe it just takes a little bit of, at first it might be a little rough, but Dan, you guys have done so much of it. Do you even think twice about it anymore?
Mm-mm.
I had
Nope,
a rough
not
one.
at all.
I had a rough one today. That's what me and Claudia were talking about it. That would have been what I would call like a professional level call. I mean, he was throwing questions at me. He had questions about the product. It was just a lot of different bouncing all over the place. We talked about trade shows and buyers and how difficult buyers were to talk to. And had I not had the experience that I had, I think I would have had a pretty difficult time with that call, just because they were throwing so much at me. And I even felt kind of on my toes, having to jump back and forth and be ready and try to have an answer ready to go. So, even after you've been doing it, like I talked to Andrew, we're always learning new stuff. I mean, we're trying to tweak this stuff all the time.
I can remember when I was early on, because we weren't born doing this stuff. We had to, Chad and I had to, start somewhere, and I would be literally shaking. I would be almost sick to my stomach, shaking that I knew that I needed to call somebody and I needed to talk to them, and I was going to sound so stupid. And through the fear and through the shaking, I just did it. And now, I mean, and I'm thinking like now, I'm not nervous at all. It doesn't even faze me anymore to pick up the phone.
But it's like chewing gum. So.
Dana, I don't know if you know this about Dana's background, but I'm gonna give you a little
Oh,
insight.
not too much.
Dana also used to be a big motorcycle advocate, and when you have a hobby where if you mess up, you die, this stuff is not that.
This ain't nothing. This ain't nothing.
You're not going to lay down a bike and die if you mess up. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but you got to start something. Nothing happens until you put this into action. Till you put all this into action. You can read as much as you want. You can listen to every YouTube channel we have. You can research the internet, but until you start reaching out, picking up the phone, sending out emails, reaching out to numerous people on LinkedIn, nothing's going to happen.
You guys, we're wrapping up. We're coming to the very end, but this is a question we're getting probably. we don't get this question all the time, but Peter has a question. What about the tariffs? Dana,
No, we answer this every seminar.
That's
We do.
it. That's everybody wants to know it
because
though.
everybody wants to know, is that slowing things down? And companies are going to wait. What do we do?
Nope, nope, nope. I think since this whole tariff word came out and whatever's going on, I know enough, but I don't watch the news. I think, and Chad, you can probably vouch for this, that we've probably, maybe since this happened, we've got into 200 more companies or 250 more, that I think we've only heard 2 or 3 companies say, not that they weren't open. Yes, we're open, but we're just taking a little break right now to see what happens.
There's only been a couple of them that have even
think
brought it up that
Maybe
talked about,
3.
yeah, feeling out the waters. And if I will say, I even had a company say with the uncertainty of it that they were actually open to looking at different options, especially if our client had, a different country that they were manufacturing in or manufactured in the US. So some companies are actually looking at it as an opportunity, for some of that change.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that you never wait on the sidelines, you guys. What you need to do is up your game. You need to stand out. You need to be there. You need to be aware that maybe you should answer a few more questions they might have, maybe a second sell sheet with comparing your product with similar products, make it easier to see your point of difference. Cost is always going to be important. Maybe do a little homework to say, look, this is going to cost the same as existing ideas or even lower. I guess what I'm saying is, don't ever wait. You want to be on the top of the list, right?
Well,
Because
if they do,
everything is going to change over time.
if they do say tariffs, it's not a big deal to wait 3-6 months. I mean, that seems like a long time to us, but as far as the company, that like even if they brought that up, to wait 3 months and repitch to them is not.
Well, Amazon's not going away anytime soon.
No.
Yeah,
And companies are adapting just like they did through COVID. They adapted, and they're doing it now too. They're just adapting to a new normal.
yeah, and they're all still competing with each other. The American public in particular will always have an insatiable appetite for new. And so, and even with I mean, I'll speak to the economy too. Okay, so you license the product, maybe the economy is not doing perfect, and maybe the company sells 80 to 90% of what they would normally sell for the next 2 years. So what? Like, is that going to be a reason you're not going to work on licensing your product? People will come up with all sorts of excuses. I think it's legitimate to ask, but you also have to ask yourself, like, once you get those facts, if you're still looking for more excuses, you need facts, but not excuses.
Hey, guys, I want to thank everyone for joining us today. Every Wednesday, we're going to talk about a different topic, help you get into those companies to pitch your ideas. Our program Gateway, Dana, thank you for coming on. Chad, thank you for your time today as well. And of course, Andrew, you guys, we have a great team. That's all they do all day long is call companies. And we're going to provide you the latest and greatest information that those two, of course, with Brad and Claudia, and we're going to pass that information on to you to get into companies. So thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, and thank you everybody on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook that's streaming live right now too. So take care, everyone.